Queen Elizabeth II, longest reigning monarch of the United Kingdom, New Zealand, Australia, England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Elizabeth Alexandra Mary was born on April 21st, 1926 at 2:40 a.m. in London to King Albert, Duke of York, and Queen Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon. Elizabeth loved horse riding and dogs. Her favorites were corgis. People never thought Elizabeth would be the one to be crowned queen because she was a very free and outgoing person. The first decade of her life, she did whatever she wanted. She even served in World War II. At the time of World War II, Elizabeth and her younger sister Margaret lived away from their parents for a while. With the war happening in 1939, Elizabeth and her sister stayed out of London, locating themselves in Windsor Castle. Elizabeth then started doing public duties and was appointed Colonel-in-Chief of Grenadier Guards by her father, King Albert. Elizabeth made her first public appearance inspecting the troops in 1942. She also accompanied her parents on official important visits with the British. In 1945, she carried out her duties by joining the Auxiliary Territorial Service. She ended up training with other British women soldiers side by side and did mechanic work. After 2 years being a Colonel-in-Chief of Grenadier Guards, her father made her a Privy Council and a Council of State, which means he can order her to do whatever she wanted when he was not in the country. Soon after, in 1947, when the royal family had come back from an official visit with the South Africans, they announced the engagement between Prince Philip of Greece and Elizabeth. Prince Philip and Elizabeth were third cousins. They both had the same great-great-grandparents of Prince Albert of Duke and Queen Victoria. Prince Philip also served in war, and he was the lieutenant of the Royal Navy. Elizabeth always had eyes for Prince Philip. She was only 13 when she fell for him. Philip as an unmatched fit for Elizabeth due to him not having money and carrying a foreign blood of a German. None of it mattered to Elizabeth. She was in love and determined to marry him. Elizabeth and Philip's wedding ceremony was held in Westminster Abbey on November 20, 1947. Soon after, in 1948, Elizabeth and Philip had their first child, which was Prince Charles of Wales and daughter Princess Anna Royal, which arrived 2 years after their firstborn. 1952, February 6, Elizabeth and Prince Philip decided to go to Kenya when King George V, Elizabeth's father, at age 56 died to lung cancer and made her the 6th woman in history to ascend to the British throne, which made Elizabeth's formal coronation as Queen Elizabeth II crowned queen on June 2nd, 1953.
Uplifting, inspiring strains of music, and a vast...
I here present unto you
The Bible itself is then presented to her by the moderator of the Church of Scotland.
Here is wisdom. This is...
And the trumpets sound. To the strains of the national anthem. scepter in her right hand, and in her left hand the orb, Queen Elizabeth II passes from the Abbey, consecrated and dedicated to her life work by the solemn and hallowed ritual of coronation. The crowning over, the Queen emerges to find that the weather had been unkind. But in spite of the gloom and the wet, Her Majesty looked radiant as she moved to the coach.